Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Joseph Mogel here again. More tips for you writers out there. Going to continue with that oh-so-happy topic from the last video, scams. Now, today I'm going to talk about, it's a scam that I actually got a heads up to early on in my writing career. Luckily, I had a professor who knew about this. He had, unfortunately, been scammed himself early on before he became a professional author and teacher of the arts of English. And the scam is what's known today as a For the Love anthology. It's usually an anthology. Sometimes they expect you to do a For the Love novel, which is a little even crazier. What For the Love means is that you as the author don't get paid. The publishing house usually sells for between 10, 5, 10, 15 bucks per book, of which you see no money. No royalties, no upfront payment, nothing. Hence, For the Love. Now, granted, as a starting author, there are a lot of things you need. The first thing you need is to get published. But if you're publishing through a publishing house that is going to essentially take your story and make money off of it without you seeing a dime, it's not really fair. And if you've already published a story or two, you can go to an actual publishing house that will pay you for your work, time, and effort, and you don't have to actually turn to these guys. Don't avoid the For the Love. It's not For the Love. It's usually For the Love of cash, because there's really one of two possible reasons why a publishing house would have a For the Love option. Either the person running the publishing house wants to make money without sharing with the authors, which is the most obvious when you think about it. They're making all the money. They're making 100% of net. Now, it could be that they are just making tons of money and they don't want to share with other people, or they have tons of overhead. They can't afford to cover that overhead on their own, so they have to spend 100% of net to keep the publishing house afloat. Either way, neither of those bode very well for you as an author. The other possibility is that the publishing house does not expect the book, anthology, whatever it may be, does not expect it to sell. Neither this nor the previous options are good for you. In particular because the usual selling point for the Love is exposure. You get your name out there. You become an established author. Established author means nothing if you sell 3 books. Established author means nothing if it's an anthology that no one buys. I published with this company, published this anthology. No one bought any. Remember, as much as this is a harsh thing to say, writing is a business. And the people who own publishing houses, they're looking at the bottom line. It's not a pretty thing to say, it's not a friendly thing to say, it's not a nice thing to say, but it is a true thing to say. That is a concern for a lot of publishers. The only publishers for whom that isn't a concern are the publishers who are already making tons and tons of money, and they're pretty well established and they don't really have to worry. So, avoid For the Love. But I am going to give an addendum to this. Similar to For the Love, there are charity anthologies. There are publishing houses that have done this. It's actually a really great thing. Authors submit stories, knowing that they will not make any money off of it, where 100% of net goes to a charity. There was an anthology that a friend of mine submitted to about, I want to say 2 years ago. 100% of net went to a wildlife fund to help preserve a section of forest that might have been cleared for logging. Luckily, between other charity events and the anthology, they were able to save a little chunk of land from being turned into more McMansions. That's not a scam. Generally because the people who are submitting know that the money is going to a good cause. It is, as far as I'm concerned, no different than writing a check to a charity. Except in this case, you're writing a check of time, creativity, and effort, and not money. The money comes at the end. So if you have a For the Love, anthology, it's massively different than a charity anthology. Charity anthologies, behind those 100%. For the love, where the publisher is making money off of your work without giving you any real credence, don't waste your time. There are plenty of other venues through which you can publish. There are a lot of websites that are friendly to new authors. There are people who say, we're looking for first-time authors. First-time authors welcome. Tons of websites like that. Hundreds. Go look. Do a search. You'll find tons of them. I got started on a website like that. The website I got started on is called ropeandwire.com. Yes, Westerns. My first stories were classic Westerns, and Rope and Wire happens to be the largest website dedicated to Old West culture. So I wound up getting published. That was the very first place I got published. That's part of the reason I'm giving them a shout out right now. In fact, I'm going to include a hyperlink in the description below because they got me my start years ago. Recently, I actually got an author spotlight page on the website. Now, I don't make any money off the stories. The other authors on the site don't make any money off the stories. But it's part of a community, part of a networking environment where you get to connect with other authors, other writers in the genre. So it's not just a get published site. It's much more than that. And what you'll find is that a lot of the publishing websites where you're not making money, but you are getting published for credence, are also networking sites. They're sites where you can connect to other authors, whereas a For the Love anthology doesn't have that benefit at all. Basically, For the Love means you as an author are getting used. Avoid them. All right, you've been warned. I think that's enough of this cheerful topic for today. I'm going to get it right one day. Like and subscribe below. If you have any questions, send me an email. You can email me through my YouTube page or by clicking on the link to my website below and sending me an email. Put, I have a question in the subject line. I will answer it in a video. All right? Cheers.